Okay, we just went over the nucleus, ribosomes. Ribosomes are what the RNA goes through to make the proteins, and the nucleus contains chromosomes, things like that. So now the endomembrane system, this is kind of the stuff that moves stuff in and out. It makes stuff, it brings stuff in, and all sorts of things. Think of, there's different packaging. So that's what the kind of the whole thing is called the endomembrane system. Stuff are transferred by tiny vesicles, and it's just essentially an invagination of the membrane that pinches off into kind of like, think of a tiny bubble of the membrane cell. And they all work together. So the system includes the nuclear envelope, the endoplasmic reticulum, the Golgi apparatus, lysosome, vacuoles, and the plasma membrane. So the endoplasmic reticulum, there's smooth and rough. The rough has ribosomes, and the smooth does not have ribosomes. And though they're kind of connected, they differ a little in structure and function. So there you see the smooth, no ribosomes, and the rough, it has ribosomes. Okay? Smooth on the left, rough on the right. So, vesicles, the transport vesicles budding off of the smooth ER, or the rough ER. So you got your ribosome, makes that polypeptide chain, glycoprotein, right, and then that pinches off, and then it gets transported to wherever the cell needs it. Where the smooth ER, it makes enzymes, which are important for making lipids, oil, steroids, and those kinds of things. And so other enzymes, they help process drugs, alcohol, other potentially harmful substances. So when you go drinking, your smooth ER is kind of what's really working in each one of your cells. And also helps store some calcium ion, which is important for muscle movement. And so rough ER makes more membrane for itself, and proteins designed for secretion. The Golgi apparatus, you think of this as kind of the UPS, I guess, of the warehouse. And so the products travel and transport vesicles from the ER to the Golgi apparatus, and then it packages them and ships them wherever they need to go. So it's got a receiving dock and a shipping dock, and so they come in on one side, and then they get modified as they go through, and they pop out the other side, and there's a Golgi apparatus. And so transport in, and then kind of move through, and then pop out the other side. There's the same graphic. So lysosome, what does it mean to lyse? And so lysosomes, think of lysing as the breaking apart. To lyse something, cuts it in half, or not necessarily half, but cuts it up into little pieces. And so sometimes they're called a digestive enzyme. And so the enzymes in the membrane, they're produced by the ER, and they go to the Golgi apparatus for processing, and then the membrane safely isolates the enzymes from the rest of the cell, so you don't end up eating yourself or breaking down yourself. But then you have these little sacs with lysosomes, and they can engulf food and break it apart and get energy. So think of this little bubble, and it's got this little tool to break things up, and it engulfs some sugar, busts it up into little pieces, and makes energy, and releases, or that can be used to make energy, and then releases that into the cell. So there's your graphic: food, lysosome, meat, digestion. So they also help remove or recycle damaged parts of the cell. So in this case, if you have an organelle that's damaged, it's enclosed in a membrane, and then the lysosome fuses with it and dismantles it, breaks it down. Think of this as like taking apart your house. pulling it apart brick by brick, and then the wood and the electrical goes somewhere, and then you recycle it and reuse it to build another house. So in this case, it's mitochondria. Lysosome comes, breaks it all up, and all of a sudden those things are available to reuse. Vacuoles are the large vesicles, and they have several different functions. So some protists, like we talked about from chapter 1, you should kind of know what those are. They have contractile vacuoles that move water from the protease. This is very important so the protease doesn't explode. In plants, they have digestive functions, and they have pigments, or they can have tannins or poisons that help protect the plant, because plants can't run around. I wonder if I can get this to play for you. So there's a paramecium. It's got that contractile vacuole, and it's moving water in and out, and mostly moving it out because water's always trying to get in. And there you go. There's your contractile vacuoles. And then here for a plant, next to the nucleus, you have that big contractile vacuole, sometimes used for digestion, sometimes for pigmentation. And so now we have a figure that kind of shows the entire relationship: the nucleus, rough ER, smooth ER, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, plasma membrane. So that concludes that portion. Answer the questions, and we'll move on to the energy portion.